Hi guys, how you doing? Steve Elliott here again. Hope you're having a great day. This is a sketch I did in Tayasui Sketches, so let's get into it. So here we are in Tayasui Sketches. I'm opening up a new page and I'm going to do a sketch of the very lovely Special K, and she's climbing over a stile. We've been at the weekend, we went to Buxton. We went to the Opera House actually, which was amazing. It's an absolutely amazing place. Victorian Opera House with lots of gilding and cherubs, sort of plaster cherubs carved into the ceiling, and paintings everywhere. And we saw Seth Lakeman, a sort of a rock folk musician. Brilliant stuff. But we also, after that, we went walking the following day. We did a lot of walking. I've got loads of photos, lots of ideas for paintings and stuff. And I bought myself a new 3D camera for a bit of fun. And I got this shot of Kerry climbing over this stile. And I thought it'd be a fun thing to do because I don't normally sketch from this angle because I'm usually sort of plump firmly on the ground when I take the photographs, and everything's sort of at eye level. But with a 3D camera, you get a selfie stick, so you can stick it way up in the air. Looks a bit pretentious, I know, and it's a selfie stick, but you need it for the camera. But you get these really cool shots that look as though they've been taken high up and from a distance. So I thought it'd be fun to do, and I wanted to do it in Tayasui because I didn't want to do a full-blown painting. I just wanted to do a sketch to see how it worked out. And as you can see, I'm sort of just using the pencil to sketch this in. And there are one or two issues with the anatomy, I would say. And this isn't going to be a true likeness or anything like that. This is one of them sort of sketches where the person in it is really anonymous because you're only just sort of scribbling in sort of rough details. I've got a bit of a pinhead going on there, so I needed to adjust that. I've discovered that there is a knife tool in Tayasui Sketches. This is episode 18, and I've never I didn't notice there was a knife tool there that I could crop and resize and move stuff. So I'm now making a lot of use of that in this sketch, which kind of it's a bit of a shame really, because I like the way that the sketchbooks I use are all about drawing in a very conventional way with a pencil, and you haven't got those tools. But I did use it a lot. I felt that I think the 3D camera, distorted the perspective and proportions of Special K a lot. And you can see in the photo there, she's got this massive long arm, which is not, it isn't right. I didn't notice it straight away. In fact, I didn't notice it till near the end of the painting. And when I decided to adjust it somewhat, and I got loads of layers because this is a watercolour, and as you know, when I'm working in watercolours, I like to have loads and loads of layers going off, and just so that you can, the watercolour acts how it's supposed to as a translucent colour over the top of another colour, and the colour underneath it glows through. That's what watercolour's all about. So I like to use lots of layers, and when I decided that it's got this sort of gorilla arm, well, actually, I didn't decide. It was Special K. I showed it, and she says, "It's all right, Steve, but what's going on with the long arm?" I went, "Oh my God, it's massive. You're right. You're so right." And so I had to go back in and amend it. So I'm doing what I normally do with the watercolours. I'm just sort of putting the washes on. I'm using the blender to soften edges and stuff. I'm leaving little bits of white on the top of those rocks where I want the light to catch the rocks. And this started off as a kind of a pencil drawing, and as it progressed, it seems to be a bit of a thing that's happening with me at the minute, where I start off with an idea of painting something one way, and then it evolves into something else. And that's what's happening with this sketch here. And as you can see now, I'm now going in with a fine lining pen. I thought this would work quite well with line work over the top of it. Still drawing in that gorilla arm look. I can't believe it. I just didn't see it. But anyway, I think the more I added the pen work, the longer the arm looked. I'm blaming the camera. I think it was the camera. But anyway, you know, I should have spotted it, shouldn't I, really? The rocks, I put in a squiggles look. I just love the way, I like doing rocks like that, where you just sort of do this scribbly effect, and it looks so effective, and it's so quick and easy to do. So just by doing squiggles, by doing squiggles on the rocks, it gives them the impression of rocks, and then straight lines on the timber, it looks like wood. So just by using that two simple techniques, you've defined two textures that people are familiar with without a lot of effort. You don't have to draw in all that detail, because this is only a sketch. Well, you can see it's only a sketch. There's not a lot of effort going in to try and make it realistic or to get a lot of detail in there. I have to say, when I'd got about 7 layers going off, and when I decided that I wanted to change the arm, I wanted to merge the layers together, and every time I tried to merge the layers, the app crashed, and I never managed to do it. I couldn't get Tayasui to merge the layers at all. And I don't know if I was doing it right. So if anybody knows different, I'd appreciate it if you let me know. But I was just sort of pinching the 2 layers together the same way as you would in Procreate to merge the layers. And it came up on the screen, merging layers, and then boom, the app crashed. And I tried that maybe 5 or 6 times, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. I quite like that sort of darkness I've put on the hillside with the greens, because it sort of gives you the impression that the light's passing over the land, and some of it's in shadow, and the light was changing so fast on this day. You literally, if you saw something, if you didn't take the picture within 10 seconds, the light had gone. It had totally changed. So I'm feeling this sketch at this point. I'm putting in some white, and I start to pick out some highlights with a white pen. And I'm thinking at this point I'd done quite a nice little sketch, until Special K said, "What about the gorilla arm? You know, what's the crack there?" So it's getting right to the point now where I'm sort of happy with it and called it a finished sketch. And I'm so glad I showed it Carrie first, because if I'd put this on Instagram and then realised that the arm was so big, it would have been terrible. So as you can see, I'm sort of resizing the body to make the arm a bit smaller. Another thing as well, I found that with the resize option, you could only resize it to scale. You couldn't sort of squash the height down. You can see here, I'm having to sort of roughly resize the layers one at a time, and then use the stumpy blending brush to just merge everything back together, and then redraw in detail where I felt it needed it. So it took me about 20 minutes to make the adjustment, which in other apps, well, say Procreate, would have probably taken me 2 minutes. But that was, I guess, because it was sort of crashing out on me all the time. It was really quite painful. And you can see here, I had an issue where I was trying to erase a blue mark on just on her wrist, you see there, and I kept selecting the layers, and what I discovered was for the eraser to work, you actually had to select the layer, come out of the layer menu, and then just wait a couple of seconds before you tried to erase anything, or it just didn't work. I've never noticed that before. I don't know if my iPad's getting a bit clogged up and slowing down because it's like the first generation one or what, and you know, iPads tend to do that, don't they? I'm not sure. So anyway, you can see there I've adjusted the arm, made it a lot more, I guess, proportionate. I'm still not 100% happy. I made the hand a little bit smaller, and then I've kind of regretted that, I think. I'm not sure if I've done that yet. Yeah, there we go. I made it a tad too small, I felt after. Just sort of patching it all up. So it was a real patch-up piece, considering this was a rough sketch. I mean, if this had been in a sketchbook and I wasn't going to put it on YouTube, I wouldn't have bothered making all those adjustments to kind of get the proportions right. I would have just sort of taken it as a learning process and said, right, I will pay more attention next time I'm working from a photo that's taken with a 3D camera. But in the end, I mean, I'm quite happy with this now. I think that looks okay. So there we go. My quick sketch, which took a little bit longer than I thought, in Tayasui Sketches. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up. Much appreciated. Helps the channel out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I have loads of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.